Hello everybody, Turkman here. This is a video talking about Valerie Solanas, the radical famous from the 1960s, I believe. Okay, let's get started. Valerie Solanas was born in April 9th, 1936 in Vendale City, New Jersey. Solanas claimed she suffered sexual abuse by her father, Louis Solanas, who was a bartender by occupation. After her parents divorced, Va Valerie's mother, Dorothy Marie Bernardo, remarried. Valerie, for some reason or another, disliked her stepfather, which prompted Valerie to rebel against her mother by skipping school. She beat up a boy for bothering a girl, the seeds of misandry being sowed there. In 1949, she was sent to live with her grandparents, Solanas. Solanas claimed she was physically abused by her grandfather. At age 15, Valerie left her grandparents and became homeless. She supported herself by becoming a hooker. Between 1951 to 1953, she gave birth to a son named David, which later he'd be named David Blackwell by his adoptive parents. The father of the boy was a married man, or a seller. His name is not known. The child was taken away from Solanas and she never saw him again. Again, furthering her hatred for males. Despite this hardship, however, she eventually graduated from high school to earn a degree in psychology. She began at this time a call-in radio show where she gave advice on how to combat men. Again, misandric attitude. This was also the time she started writing her misandric manifesto, SCUM, which the initials stood for Society for Cutting Up Men. I will leave the link to the description of some of the inscripts of the book, which personally to me is amazing how feminists consider this piece of garbage a classic feminist literature. If the MRA did such a book, it wouldn't be considered a publishable book, I could tell you that right now. Double standards is amazing. Also, does anyone find it ironic a person that graduated in psychology would, after attempting to murder someone, becomes diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic? Or is it just me? By the mid-1960s, she moved to New York City where she would support herself through begging and once again becoming a prostitute. In 1967, she met pop culture icon Andy Warhol. Valerie asking him to produce her play, he accepted. Solanas contacted Warhol about the script, in which, unfortunately, Andy replied that he had lost it. Before she shot Warhol, she asked writer Peter Casher for $50 on the pretense for something to eat, as she didn't earn much money through doing absolutely fuck all, just being a raving nutcase, with all due respect. Instead, she used the money to buy a gun, a .32 automatic handgun to use to kill Warhol. Before this happened, she threatened a producer by the name of Margot Ferdin to produce her lame-ass play with a gun. The play was called Up the Ass. What a stupid fucking title, huh? Only a nut fruitcake feminist, huh? He refused, which prompted her to produce the gun. She said, "Yes, you will produce a play because I'll shoot Andy Warhol and that will make me famous and the play famous, and then you'll produce it." Wow. Talk about someone reasonable. On June the 4th, 1968, Solanas shot Warhol while Warhol was on the phone. Even by the distraction, she missed 2 times and hit Warhol only once, but that was enough to damage him. The bullet went through both his lungs, spleen, stomach, liver, and esophagus. He, excuse me. Pardon my, being a dummy here. Esophagus. That's it. Esophagus. Apologies for my cock up there. She turned herself in and confessed to the shooting, telling a police officer that Warhol had, and she quotes, too much control of her life. She was shockingly, only charged with felonious assault instead of attempted murder. It's amazing how the double standard there just show. I mean, this just goes to show that how ingrained that society's double standard of the law, of how they charge men and women go. It's disgusting. At the trial, she was quoted as saying in reference to the shooting, and I quote, "I considered that a moral act, and I consider it amoral that I missed. I should have done target practice." The comment shows, once again, it just shows that she had absolutely no remorse for her actions in which she tried to kill another human being. Excuse me. In January of 1969, Solanas was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. When she stood at trial, she pled guilty to reckless assault. Reckless assault, fucking hell. I mean, are you meaning to tell me that shooting someone in an attempt to kill someone is assault? It's fucking insanity. How can that be just known as reckless assault? I mean, my god, man. What sort of society do we live in that it's just only assault when... Oh, jeez, man. It just hurts my head. Anyways, she pled guilty for reckless assault with the intent to cause harm. No, bitch, you had the intent of killing the man. With all due respect, she passed away. But, still. After serving 3 years in a psychiatrical ward, this person that tried to kill another human being and didn't serve 1 day in prison, in custody. There are mentally sick males in this world, fellow MGTOWs, MRAs, that are sentenced to prison terms for a very long time. Mentally ill men. I don't see many mentally ill women being sentenced to prison. It's a joke. This just goes to show the absolute double standards in the Western world, and it's truly disgusting. Things have to change. Once out of the psychiatric hospital, she started stalking Warhol, again, which just shows that she had absolutely no empathy for this human being that she almost tried to kill. And for the law, for the justice system to just put her back into free society just goes to show that the absolute insanity of the double standards, that women are just somehow victims, even though that they've committed a horrible crime. Oh god. Started stalking Warhol. As for Warhol, unfortunately he was never the same person after the attempt on his life. He was left traumatized severely. His close friend, Billy Name, described him as a cardboard of his former self. As for Solanas, she spent the rest of her life being institutionalized several times, which just goes to show, way to go, the law system, of actually letting the woman go to begin with. She clearly needed to stay in custody for more than just 3 years, by just the sheer fact that she had to go back and forth several times in a psychiatric ward, Good job there. Oh dear. She spent the rest of her life being institutionalized several times and writing a new book of how it was a conspiracy. I mean, the cheek of it, a conspiracy of how that she was imprisoned for an attempted murder of Andy Warhol. She passed away due to pneumonia on April 25th, 1988, age 32. Her celebrity lawyer, Florence Kennedy, I apologize if I'm not doing that correctly, if I'm not pronouncing it incorrectly, said that she was, and I quote, one of the most important spokesmen of the feminist movement. Oh god. I mean, this has got to be some of the most worst PR job I've ever heard in my life to to give any credibility to the movement. The movement has zero credibility when you try to say that a mentally ill person was one of the most important spokesperson of a particular movement. I mean, good God. I mean, and also it just goes to show that, you know, the feminists will exploit anything for their own gain. You know, I mean, a mentally ill person that attempted to murder one of the most famous pop culture icons in history. Once again, as I said, this is such a blatant indication of the feminist movement that will exploit anything, even including a person with paranoid schizophrenia, to further their agenda. Amazing. Feminists such as Tay Grace Atkinson described Solanas as the first outstanding champion for women's rights. And this is a movement that fights for equality, they say? Yeah, give me a fucking break. For women's rights. Norman Miller described her as the Robespierre of feminism. Again, this just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that this very movement that apparently supports equal rights just simply does not. And again, this just goes to show that the very movement itself supports the killing of an innocent male. Yet, we're supposed to believe that feminists fight for equality? Come on, the writing's on the wall, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen. How can that be the case if they support the death of another man? Which just goes to show that the feminist movement, the basis of the feminist movement is misandry. It is the hatred of men. It's fucking bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. After all, the feminist movement were founded by a bunch of men-hating lesbians. You can just look it up. Andrea Dawkins, just many others. Okay, everybody, that was my rant for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and take care. Have a good day, or in my case, night. It's 4:45 in the morning. Okay, guys, take care. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day or night. Goodbye. Peace.